Hello friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. The Phillies take 2 of 3 versus the Cardinals over the weekend. The Bats wake up in their opener against the Pirates, hitting 3 home runs in the game and putting the team over 500 for the first time this season. Spencer Strider appears to be out long-term for the Braves. How does this affect the big picture in the NL East? The Flyers have hit rock bottom, with the playoffs almost certainly out of reach. Who is to blame for this dramatic collapse? How much longer will John Tortorella remain behind the bench? The Eagles bring back Avonte Maddox on a 1-year deal. They also solidify left tackle with a 3-year extension of Jordan Mailata. Tight end CJ Ozuma is also signed to a 1-year deal. The Packers are finally announced as the Birds' opponents in Brazil. The Sixers are rolling, winning their 6th straight against the Pistons on Tuesday. With the return of DeAnthony Melton, the team is finally back to near full strength, heading into the playoffs. Is the team ready to make a run? And can they sneak into the 6th seed? The Union remain undefeated and sit at 2nd place in the Eastern Conference. All that and more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Pretty good. Didn't fly away in the wind on the walk over here with that breezy ass wind, but other than that, doing pretty good. Finally feeling recharged and back to normal after a great wedding with everybody. But feeling pretty good, man. Sixers on a roll. Phillies are looking decent. Flyers are back to doing what the Flyers do best. And yeah, man, other than that, can't complain.
Yeah, that wind, man. I felt like I was in the movie Twister. It's going to be like the cows.
Yeah.
The cows blowing around in the tornado.
Mm-hmm. It blew my hat off 2 times walking over here today. But weather-wise, it's finally getting nice. Like, I feel like winter is finally behind us,
It was
which
great
is nice.
yesterday.
So I'll take that.
Had
Yesterday on my day off.
had our first earthquake,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah,
We
earthquake
recorded
too.
the day before the earthquake last time.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's been
classic Philly earthquake.
something. But yeah, it's good to be back as always on 56. That's
This
nuts.
long episode.
Yeah.
Yo, I do think, remember I was saying last episode we needed Captain Planet to save us? That's what the earthquake was, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, he
was
wasn't
talking shit.
He wasn't saving us. He was mad at us. He was mad about 95. He was mad that they were rebuilding it, like you said. He was like, nah,
Yeah.
y'all ain't rebuilding nothing. I'm knocking it down. Here comes an earthquake for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, we're all still here. Didn't do any damage to us, so
yeah.
The city of Erie, Pennsylvania did some damage to my liver, but it ain't about that. It's about Lois and Hannah getting married, tying the knot during the eclipse. A magnificent day of matrimony. And the eclipse was awesome. Y'all ever seen a solar eclipse before?
not one,
No.
not a full solar eclipse like that in totality.
Yeah, never seen anything like that before. That was awesome.
Hell of a way to start the weekend though. Earthquake, total eclipse,
Yeah, I got
damn
all
near
the
tornado winds.
Yeah, I just need a hurricane.
Yeah.
And
Maybe a volcano.
volcano.
Yeah,
Although I did see Mount St. Helena is like puffing out big ass
Yeah.
O's right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means, but
It's probably nothing
no,
good.
It's good or bad.
can't be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't think
Can't be
that's
good when that shit starts spitting out stuff and we're like, we're gonna keep an eye on this one real quick. Where it's like, okay, hold up. But
Yeah, I'm glad we're not in the volcano zone.
Yeah,
Don't need one of those.
Could you imagine, man?
The volcano's right next to 95.
oh god.
Ooh. 95 would just I mean, it already is perpetually under construction, but even more so if that were
Yeah.
the case. That'd be scary.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't got to worry about that. We don't got to worry about a giant lake next to us if there's an earthquake. Like, could you imagine if there was a big earthquake in Erie? It would start like tsunami force, like
Oh
waves,
yeah.
dude. That'd be wild.
Or by a dam that shit cracks.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we're in a good spot. Speaking of being in a good spot, Phillies look like they're in a pretty decent spot right now. Got their nice little win to start the homestead.
Yeah. Big, Bats finally came alive. I had to rewrite the intro a little bit because I was about to talk about how the Bats have been so bad. But, as Rob Thompson made clear to the bum Howard Eskin that we are going to slug, and tonight they did. 3 home runs. Bohm gets one. Stott hits one a fucking mile. That was a
Yeah.
bomb.
Yeah. And
And,
what Brandon?
Wet Brandon just snuck one out. Yeah, so good to see. Pitching's still been good. I mean, the one thing they've had all season so far is the pitching's been pretty solid. No real concerns, red flags there. Suarez looked great tonight. In what do you have, like 6 innings?
6
Just
innings,
about
8
6.
Ks,
Like 8
no
strikeouts.
walks, 2
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah,
He was
beautiful.
dealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, this was coming into today's game. They're fourth in the NL in pitching with a 3.81 ERA. They're fourth in WHIP, walks hits per innings pitched, with a 1.19. And batting average against, I think they're also fourth if I write this down correctly, 230. So yeah, the pitching's been good, man. Pitching's been probably about as advertised, maybe a little better. Like, I don't think that we expected Turnbull and Chris Sanchez. Like, Chris Sanchez was solid last year, but Turnbull, I don't think anyone expected him to be even serviceable. He's been more than that.
Yeah. No, you're seeing the health effects be good too, right? Where Rangers coming in healthy, Wheeler is Wheeler. I mean, the rest of the bullpen's been lights out. I mean, I think we were graded the best bullpen in all of baseball to come into the season, and it's nice to be able to have that stick. You know, it's not like being like, oh, we're the most high-powered hitting team coming into the season, and they're kind of laying flat on their face. But yeah, the bullpen's been doing well. A lot of that too, I think. JT, I mean, Realmuto is just still honestly the best catcher in baseball. It's incredible to see that man work. I mean, he's got a lot of guys. He makes, like you said before, good pitches look great, and great pitches look obviously an instant strike. So it's good to see everybody from top to bottom really hold their own and do their part. And today's game was great. See everybody get hit. Obviously, Howard Eskin, piece of shit, terrible dude.
It's so funny.
The
and like Rob Thompson was saying,
King
like,
himself.
You're not going to change a lineup. We're 13 games in. Like, obviously, people are going to be a little slow to start, whatever. We've had, you know, not to put weather as an excuse, but some pretty shitty weathered games in the first 13 games.
I don't think that that's an excuse. It's a legitimate thing to gripe about.
If you're hot, you know, we're not a dink and dunk kind of team where, you know, you can play in any weather. This team is meant to just go yard. So, you know, once we hit June, July, once we get into the summer season, of course the bats should wake up then. But it was nice to see him get back to the action today. Nice to see Castellanos at least get on base, obviously via error.
Yeah, that was funny.
But, you know, it's just good to see them have a little bit of fun today on a team they should beat. Records all aside, the Pirates aren't shit. So, like, you should honestly sweep this team, get back on track above 500, and, you know, get them bats a little bit more awake.
Yeah, I think to your point, JT bouncing back has been huge, especially when he had that injury scare the other game.
Yeah.
Where he had a
ball
in
the throat.
Like a Zach Wheeler, like 80-some-mile-per-hour curveball, bounce up and just crack him in the throat. That could have been really bad.
Right in the fucking neck. Yeah, he was fine, though.
Yeah, he
Took
comes
it like
back
a champ.
and plays the next game.
Yep.
Just wild. So that's been encouraging. Wet Brandon, I was calling for them to free him last week.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's played against lefties, but he's been killing against righties. And I think I probably mentioned this last year at some point. I feel like he's a future all-star. This might be the year for him, man, if he keeps this up. Obviously, still very early to call it, but he's kind of taken a step forward. He never really had an opposite field power like this, dude. 3 of his 4 dingers are the left of center.
In gusty ass, like, it's not like it's been pleasant days. I mean, his first home run was the day that no one could get the ball past the outfield just about.
Even today, I mean, that wind was howling.
Yep, and
might have helped him, but
put it deep center, left center. I mean, it's incredible what he's been able to do, and his fielding is still tremendous. Great vibes guy. But yeah, I think Marsh has really taken a step forward with his bat, especially, you know, between him, Baum, and Stott too at the mid to end of the lineup. It's nice to have that really carry the team, as unfortunate as it may be to start the season. But it's good to have those guys that are young and youthful and still, you know, providing that oomph to the team that we need until, you know, when it all lines up and you got Harper and Turner and Schwarber doing their thing, which would be great eventually.
You know, I was walking over here. I think Schwarber's just waiting until June. I was thinking about that on the walk over here.
He's waiting for Hoagie Fest real quick.
He just crushes it in June every year. He'll be fine, man. Castellanos, I don't know about him. Might just be a down year. He just looks really lost at the plate. Trey Turner, we saw him wake up. Would it be nice if he would not need a standing ovation this year to do that? For sure, but, I mean, these guys are going to hit at some point.
At least Turner's making contact. Like, he's getting unfortunate, like, 98 miles an hour off the bat. Third baseman's getting a great play and getting him on it. Like, it, you know, you get one guy that slips up and isn't a great third baseman, he might get in there. But I feel like last year when we pulled him in, he was just striking out or popping out.
That's
like,
true.
Just
Grounding
dummy balls.
Plays,
This one, he's ripping the ball when he hits it. Just, you know, playing good defense.
Doesn't need a standing ovation. Might just need, you know, like an edible arrangements or you know, an Amazon gift card or some kind of small gesture to get him going.
His mom could still call him piece of shit, and then he'll be back on track.
I was going to say that's what he really needs.
I think Trey Turner's mom, she's about probably getting ready to call Castellanos a little bit because someone needs to call that man.
Yeah, he's looked really lost, but whatever, man. Plenty of time for them to get it right. With that being the case, I think we should feel pretty good about where they are, all things considered. They went over 500. They're 7-6. This tweet from Jason Stark for The Athletic. Before their win today, this is after they beat the Cardinals yesterday.
Yeah.
He says, before their win today, the Phillies hadn't had a winning record on their first road trip of the season since 2011.
Damn,
yeah.
Their
That's
record
wild.
in all those first road trips in between, 15-40.
Jeez.
So, I mean, considering they had a winning road trip and they're over 500, their schedule's pretty easy. They get the Pirates, they get the White Sox coming up yet. I think they're in pretty good shape. The bats have yet to wake up, and they're still finding ways to win games. That game yesterday against the Cardinals, what I could watch between just my first day of work, my first day back from work after the wedding vacation, that was an ugly game. It's all rainy, windy, looked like it was kind of muggy and just ass to be playing in, but they gutted it out. Nola didn't have his best stuff. He's throwing like 89. Like, command was pretty shoddy, but he pulled through. The offense scored just enough runs. They prevented just enough runs. They're doing fine, man. I think you had said the weather isn't, like, we shouldn't make it an excuse. I don't think anyone is, but you very well could.
I mean, you could.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's a legitimate thing to gripe about, like I was saying.
Baseball, you do better when it's hot and sticky out. The air is a little bit thinner, so you're good to go that way. We've been having gusty-ass homestands here in Philly, or rainy, or wet. Even when they went to St. Louis, it was pissing rain the whole time, too. They played all day. So, like, you know, it is what it is. I mean, good teams find a way, and right now they've been finding a way
Yeah, I
to
mean, the other
get
team
it
has
out.
to play in the same weather, but,
Yeah.
you know, when you have, you're kind of relying on power and hitting, it does kind of...
It
not
kind of
good.
kills it a little
Yeah.
bit there. I mean, it helps. I guess, you know, the bullpen does what it can in that condition. But, yeah, I know it goes both ways. But they've looked decent. I know we've been saying, you know, what we expected this year for the Phillies was to come out with a hot start, you know, because they've been kind of faltering the last 3 years when they came out. And wouldn't say it's hot, but it's not as cold as it has been. You said it earlier on before we started off. It's lukewarm. I think that's a good way to narrate it where, yeah, it's not the hottest they could be, but they're not ice cold, so lukewarm. They're room temp. They're just waking up,
Yeah.
and it's good to go that there's guys that are hot on the team right now. But once the premier guys that you're paying, you know, $500 million of the front of the lineup in, they will really be shaking and baking there.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we said going into the season, is if you consider how the last couple seasons have gone, if they can just avoid being terrible for the first 2 months,
Yep.
they should be in good shape, assuming that they have similarly decent middle and end of the season, you know.
You have that unfortunate kind of bonus to the Phillies too, and I'm not looking at it as I'm happy for an injury, but like Spencer Strider going down for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's
it
huge.
doesn't hurt us. I mean, I'm not happy about it because obviously you don't want to hear about, oh, well, the Phillies are only winning because they don't have Strider. Obviously, that team has an incredible amount of firepower on their offensive side of the ball too, but you know, Strider going down, you lose your top ace. That will hinder for sure a lot of that opportunity to get ahead. So I think us having a pretty decent start to the season, the Braves having an already unfortunate kind of injury bug, you know, anything could happen. You know, we could go through the same thing, but right now it's a good chance to really take advantage of that and take a leap forward. You know, give yourself that cushion while he's out, if you can, with a pretty couple easy series coming up.
I mean, he could be out all season. Like, it's the UCL. That usually means Tommy John.
You throw around Tommy John,
They
no
haven't
one's
said
like,
we're doing that yet, but it's definitely a possibility.
and he's not your third baseman. He's your fucking ace pitcher. So, like, you know,
The guy throws 99, 100 too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that elbow
It's-
ligament's pretty crucial.
even if he does come back, I mean, it's going to affect his game for sure. But, you know, it's just time to take advantage of that while you can.
Yeah, I think the rest of the division is really bad. The Marlins, have they even won a game yet? The last time I checked, they were like 0-9.
I don't know. They
I'm
were
sure
pretty
they'll
bad.
take 2 or 3 of us the first time
Yeah.
they go down to Florida,
still
like
lose
they
to
always
them.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, they don't look good. The Nationals, we just saw them and won 2 out of 3. I don't know what the hell the Mets are doing, but let's
The Mets
just
are looking like fucking backyard baseball over here.
For real again?
Oh, my God. They had one play I saw this weekend that passed that they had a man on, I don't know if it was bases loaded or a guy on second and third, and they thought the ball, like, somebody hit it, and it was one of those ones where, like, it lands in front of the home plate and, like, rolls a little bit. They thought it would go foul, so no one moved, and the ump was like, it's fair, and they still were just, like, not moving. 2 guys came home.
Damn.
I mean, it's just...
That's tragic.
They're looking bad. I was giving a lot of shit to Tito from the tailgate, our big buddy Tito down there, because he's a Mets fan. He's like, no, I fucking love the Phillies now. I'm like, yeah, you know, you're lying. But, yeah, the Mets are looking just discombobulated. They're a good team. They're just not playing. I don't know what they're doing up there.
Mets are the Mets.
That just speaks to the rest of the division. It's weak, other than the Braves and losing Strider, who won 20 games for him last year. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say some replacement level pitcher probably can't win maybe 10 of those games with their offense behind him. But at the same time, if you take 5 to 10 wins off their record in this division, that could make all the difference in the world where we actually win it this year. But even if we don't win it, if they have to go in the playoffs without Strider, plenty of time for them to make moves, whatever have you. But that's a big loss for them all the same.
Just a great time to just take advantage of the moment that you have right now. And we'll see what we can do. But yeah, all in all, at least a good trajectory for the Phils to start the season coming into April here. Right? We're in April? Yeah, April.
Yeah, still April. Yeah, we got anything else in the Phils, or?
I don't think so.
Nothing too glaring.
I don't have anything written down. It's early yet. The season's young yet.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the next few weeks as weather starts to warm up. See if some of the bats start to wake up a little bit. Harper had that 3-dinger game. And then after that, he just has gone cold again. I hope his back isn't acting up, and that's why he's not hitting. But we'll just have to see, I think.
Oh, no, the way he's diving around doesn't seem like his back is hurting him. I mean, his defensive play is acting like he's loosey-goosey. He's right there. I mean, he makes contact on... That ball's out of the park. He just, just hasn't quite made the right contact. I have more faith in him missing it when he strikes out than I have Castellanos, because at least Harper, like, he loves it high and inside, so guys are pitching him high, wherever they can, and they'll get him if it's too high. Castellanos is out here just... You would think he should get a fucking nod to the Masters this week, honestly, the way he's been batting up here, just golfing at shit. Yeah. It's just terrible. Everything. And he only got lucky on another backyard fucking baseball play.
The other game. Yeah,
these two dudes were like Little League running into each other. It's like, okay, well, I don't know why the center fielder is coming in the right field, but I'll take it. Like, that's fine. But Harper will be okay. And when he gets on fire...
Yeah, we saw it last year. Yeah.
That's a game changer. The whole team just lights up. So, I think they're in a good spot.
Agreed.
Yep. What do you want to move on to now? Birds?
Yeah, let's do the Birds.
Yeah. Few signings.
Yeah.
They bring Avante back, which we kind of thought there's a decent possibility they were going to do that, and they go ahead and time to another 1-year deal. Just, I like it, bring him back for less money. He's obviously a very good slot corner when he's healthy. We'll see if he can stay healthy this year. I don't know, fingers crossed, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a good move. I think we predicted it, right? I mean, you cut him for the cap space. I mean, if you're any other team, obviously he fits our scheme really well. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get picked up by anybody else for a cheap 1-year deal, unless, he just knew that he wanted to come back to Philly, whether it was for less or whatnot, and have that, camaraderie. He was still roommates with Goddard and Jake Elliott, too, so it's not like, or at least just Goddard. I forget who the third one is, but, like, all the signs were there that he was going to come back. And he is a phenomenal nickel corner when he is healthy. That's his only knock is his health. I mean, no one's ever said that he's bad at coverage or a bad tackler or a bad, reader of a quarterback and things like that. A dude just can't stay healthy. So I'm okay with bringing him back. I would think that they would have to have pieces in place as a solid backup because the guy probably won't give you 16, 17 games.
I mean, I think they already kind of have those guys in-house. You figure between Ringo, Ricks, right? They'll probably draft a corner, too.
Yeah. So you could keep Ringo or Ricks as, like, the main backup, so to speak, there. But I have no doubt they'll have a plan in place, but that's just you got to keep that in the back of your mind that, like, you don't want to see him not make the whole season, but I don't think he has in 3 years.
I think that's why it's a 1-year deal on the cheap, just because it's
definitely
prove you can stay healthy, and if you can, maybe we'll give you a couple more years, or maybe some other
he's still
team
young,
will.
which is fortunate, so that's good for us that way. But I'm glad it keeps some continuity in that secondary. Obviously, with new defensive coordinator, things could change up that way, but it's just nice to have some stability back there. So I like it.
Yeah.
And Malata. Big day for
That's
Malata.
a no-brainer, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's, it's still wild the fact that they were able to take a rugby player and just turn him into a, borderline, Pro Bowl top left tackle. He's been great.
He'll make a Pro Bowl this year, if not an All-Pro this year. I can picture that. I mean,
has he made a Pro Bowl yet? No, right?
I think he was like an honorable maybe, but I don't know if he actually outright made it. I mean, to go from not even knowing how to put a helmet on in training camp his first practice to just a starting left tackle. I mean, you replaced a first ballot Hall of Famer left tackle. Talk about shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And you did it honestly with ease. That is incredible.
Yeah, there hasn't been much of a noticeable drop-off from Jason Peters to him.
Even,
maybe his rookie year, there might have been a bit of one as he was learning. Or not his rookie year, his first year starting while he was learning.
Yeah.
But since then, he's just been a stud between him and Dickerson on the left side of that line, man. That's one of the best left guard, left tackle combos in the league.
And you're not playing against shitty teams on a shitty team. You're making a deep run or at least a solid run into the playoffs. You're playing premier defenses every year. San Fran, you know what I mean? You're playing teams that are coming at you with great defensive lines. And he held his own. And not held his own, he's dominated, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what earned the right. And I think that it's nice to see Howie committing to the youth of the team. I mean, I think we have between him, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Dickerson, even Johnson, really. I mean, committed but past 2027, 2028 even.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see how, he's making some good deals and keeping
Barkley.
these guys. And Barkley, too, yeah. So it's exciting to see him, get paid. And what a testament to his ability, honestly, his physical ability to be able to play such a daunting position, left and right tackle, are like... Pfft.
And he's just the man, dude. He's
great.
Big,
and he'll sing you to
dude.
sleep.
Yeah, he was the Masked Singer.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, it's always so funny when they interview him in the locker room, and he starts using these Australian-ass, slang terms, he's called, I remember one game he called Jalen Hurts a bloke.
Yeah.
It's like no one else has probably ever referred to Jalen Hurts, or Sirianni for that matter, as a bloke in their life. Or he'll always have the legendary quote about playing right tackle. It's like, yeah, it's like trying to wipe your ass with your wrong hand. It ain't pretty, but he gets the job done. Yeah, he's just a legend, man. I love Jordan Mailata.
Hell yeah.
And he's also kind of become a leader on the team, right?
Yeah.
Because you figure, at least on the offense, Kelsey was a lot of that guy. You still have it in Hurts, obviously. You still have it in A.J. Brown. Outside of that, I mean, Lane Johnson's kind of a quiet leader.
He's a quiet man. I mean, he's dealt with anxiety. He's kind of like that Brandon Brooks guy where, you're a phenomenal athlete, but, you're not. My job isn't to be the motivator.
Right.
My job isn't to be, helping the young. And he does, but in a more off-the-screen, quiet way, where Mailata is definitely that personality. You can see that performer come through.
Yeah.
And you need that, especially from a staple. And, even
someone that's going to be here long term.
The year that we lost at the Giants for whatever, I forget what game that was, and he helped, picked up Jalen Hurts or whatever. It's not on you, it's okay. He's just a born leader that way, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I just still want them to use him one day. I know we got Kellen Moore now. Tap into that rugby energy. We don't always have to be using Hurts for the fucking push-tush, but god damn, if you put... I mean, we can get to that too, but just in hindsight, you got Ozuma now, who's 6'4", 240.
When first you started that, I thought you were going to say that you wanted them to hand him the ball in a couple of plays.
Yeah, no, I do. Hell yeah.
Just truck some people.
Or use him as a receiving tight end.
Anything. I mean, Lane Johnson caught a touchdown 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At least Mailata's athletic enough. He's probably the most athletic lineman in the NFL from the standpoint of being a rugby player.
Now that Kelsey's gone, yeah.
Yeah, but even, Kelsey just can't, as a center, probably tough to get out there, but come on, man. You got a potential to have one of the craziest trick plays in the NFL.
Dude, at least use him as a fullback.
Anything
right?
would be awesome. Just let that man get a touchdown once in his career. I would love to see it. And I think this year has a big chance to do that.
Yeah, who's stopping him at a gold line?
Nothing.
line
I
rush.
mean,
Between him, Hurts, and
to be fair,
Saquon Barkley, look at
we
that
have a
fucking
quarterback
quads.
and a running back who each squat 600 pounds.
Yeah.
So, like, who's stopping them either? But nah, I would still love to see Mailata score
It
a
would just be
touchdown
cool.
just for the novelty.
Let us see him
of it.
dance
Yeah.
or maybe sing a
We
song.
got to see Lane Johnson get one
Yeah,
a couple years back.
and he caught that well. But I think Mailata, he could.
He's fast for a big dude.
He's a big man. He could run, but we'll see. It's just a man can dream.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned Uzoma. I think
Yeah.
it's Uzoma.
Uzoma?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Y'all called him something else.
I don't know.
Osama.
Osama.
Ozuma.
Osama.
No,
I don't
he didn't went to the Bills then.
Obama.
Yeah.
But I think it's a big upgrade. I think the tight end room got
They
better.
have a lot of tight ends. Think about it. They've Goddard, Okuegbenam, and that tight end room's got some interesting names.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okuegbenam, Uzoma, Goddard. Who's the other tight end? Stoll's gone. Calcaterra
Calcaterra's
yet?
still there.
They got at least four tight ends.
They're cutting one of those bad boys. I tell you what, by the start of the season, I think that it's a huge upgrade though from that tight end perspective. Just given again, unfortunately, Goddard's health and a lot of his injuries are freak
getting
injuries.
older.
It's freak injuries
Yeah.
too. I mean, like he had that one. They hit him low and got his leg, and then the one not to
his
fucking
arm
do this
stepped
song,
on or
but hit
whatever.
him low, hit him high. I mean, he did bust
Yeah.
up his arm on a high hit, like on a weird fluke thing. But I love it. I mean, big, solid guy, great pass blocker, great, honestly, athlete too.
He's
can
a
catch.
decent receiver.
Yeah, real good. I mean, he killed it for the Bengals in their Super Bowl run, but kind of died off with the Jets. But no one expects anyone. I mean, you go there, your
Yeah.
career dies. So
Yeah.
we got him for cheap. I'll take it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they handle the tight end room this year. There was some talk about them drafting one, which I suppose they still could, but then you're gonna have 5-6 tight ends.
I thought that until
Trade up for Bowers.
Yeah, I thought maybe Bowers could be on the draft list until they signed him today. And I'm like, that makes no sense then. Like, it's not worth it. I mean, we don't need a tight end that bad.
You don't need to spend a first round
No.
pick on one.
We got
anyway,
Goddard in
right?
the second round. We don't need to be drafting a tight end in the first round. Like, we're okay.
And then
We're
think
decent.
about like Kyle Pitts was a first round draft pick as a tight end, and
All the hype, yeah.
that
I think,
hasn't really panned out.
No. So I think that people can pump the brakes on that big time for us drafting Bowers, really, especially with them picking up. I think it's Uzama.
I thought it
Uzama.
was
Uzoma?
Uzoma. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ooze.
Either way.
Yeah, we'll just
Our
call
man
him Ooze.
Ooze.
But yeah,
CJ Ooze.
guess speaking of the draft, right? So we've got a few weeks left towards the draft, but we can start to talk about it a little bit. What positions do you think they're targeting? At least we don't have to talk about every round. But like first round pick, what you got?
I think there's a good chance they go tackle. Lane Johnson's not going to be around that much longer, and I think that this team like lives and dies with the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, the organizationally, they obviously value that very heavily, as they should. And it's not like we're super deep there. So I mean, as good as our starting line is, a couple injuries, you could be in some pretty rough waters. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's a strong possibility that they try to find the Lane Johnson successor if there's someone good available to them.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be mad about it. I think what they're probably going to look for is someone with the versatility that can play right guard this year, assuming Juergens is your starting center.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever this guy is can start at right guard this year, next year, and then whenever Lane retires, you just shift him over. I feel like that's probably what they do. But at the same time, they did bring our boy Matt Henney.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they feel like he can play right guard, in which case the other position I would probably look at is corner, just because I don't trust James Bradbury worth a damn, dude.
Right.
Yeah. I think that you both are kind of right. I don't think anyone's wrong here at all. I think that there's no running backs in there, let alone we don't need a running back. We don't really need a receiver either. I mean, there's some good ones out there. Obviously, this draft, a plethora of good ones.
Yeah.
But
I think they'll probably
we don't
draft
need
one
it.
somewhere in the draft. Maybe
Definitely.
they fill that third, but not in the first.
Not in the first round. I
or
think that
even second.
honestly, if the main focus, I think, for this team right now is because you still got Steen from last year from Alabama, who is a tackle. He didn't play last year a lot, but one more. You got 2 years now in Stoutland University, so that means a lot compared to other teams being a backup tackle and not playing a lot. I mean, this guy could come out preseason and be like, damn, okay, big-bodied guy, huge man, like he could actually, and comes into Alabama with Nick Saban still, not just the new Alabama that is, who knows what that could be. But I think if you have a guy like the Cooper DeJean or what's it called, Kool-Aid McKinley.
Yeah, Kool-Aid, man.
If Kool-Aid falls to you at
Cooper
22 or if you move down to whatever and you can still get one of those two top premier corners, you got to make a jump on that. I mean, you can't pass up on a need because Slay's older, Bradbury, you don't know what you're going to get. People are predicting a bounce-back year, but honestly, I don't see it.
Is he magically going to get faster as he gets older?
Yeah, like I just don't see it. People are like, oh, well, scheme-wise, see if it's better with Fangio's scheme. Okay, well, whatever. But, we had one good year with him, and I'll take that. We robbed the Giants, and he did great. Last year, he was a whole-ass liability down the stretch. So I think if you got Cooper DeJean or Kool-Aid McKinley that fall to you, you take him. If they're both gone, then I think you go interior O-line. And at that point, you're going to lose. There's only like 3 top tackles in the draft this year. I think you're going to see, 2012 or 2007, they had the highest amount of offensive linemen picked in the first round, which was 8. This year is projected to tie that record.
Jesus.
So you have that. You have the ability to grab, whether it's a guy from Penn State, whether it's that crazy dude from Oregon who probably will go because he's a tackle, Oregon State that is. But there's a guy from Oregon who's a good interior O-lineman who could play center or guard, which could be a good fit. I know Cam Jurgens was picked to replace Kelsey, but he's been doing pretty well at guard. So if he can't cut it for some reason at center, which is fine, we could see a change there. But I think primary corner, and if those two guys aren't available, there's no need to stretch for corner. We can get one in the second round. You go offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking if Cooper DeJean is available, I mean they're gonna have to pounce on him just for the jersey sales alone.
I've been doing a shit ton of mock draft, and he has been falling in most drafts.
Why? Because he's white?
No, because most teams have already kind of locked in. I mean, the last couple of seasons, receiver and corner or safety have been the top hit. Obviously, with quarterbacks and some running backs here and there, but this year teams have. I mean, look at the NFL this past season too, where all damn near half the NFL's top quarterbacks went out with injury. Offensive line has been overlooked for so long, and I think that it's time for a swing back of like interior guys. This draft is filled with big, great defensive linemen and stud offensive linemen. There's a lot of great talent in the draft as well, but I think that Cooper DeJean could fall to us, and it wouldn't blow my mind. Same with McKinley too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain about it at all. The other thing that I'm thinking they could do, just because we know the Eagles value the defensive line, so I think they could go after an edge rusher. I haven't really scouted too much or like looked into it too much to see who's available, but you figure you lost Reddick.
Yeah.
You replaced him with Huff, but Brandon Graham's a year older. Josh Sweat kind of faded at the end of last year. Who else? Nolan Smith is kind of an unproven player at this point.
Weird position he was put into. I mean, I think defense we're going to be pretty. It's also hard to tell. Like, we don't know what Fangio is going to do with this defensive front.
True.
We know how we're built historically, but are we going to use Davis as a nose tackle like he really is? Or are we going to put him in a 2D tackle front? Is Carter going to move inside or outside? I mean, it's tricky to tell what they're going to do with that, but I think that our glaring need, if I was a GM, we need a corner or offensive lineman. We can always get a good defensive lineman in the second round or a linebacker in the second round or whatever. But I think you're not going to get, they say the fall off in town is past the 15th pick in the first round. Top 15 picks typically are the Pro Bowlers, potential Hall of Famers, this and that. Once you get below 15, it's tough to see. The statistics of it, they don't necessarily always pan out. The bulk of it is in the top 15. But, like I said, could be a big year for the not sexy picks, which are linemen.
Yeah.
But you look at the past couple drafts, the guys that have been picked in the top 10 picks that were O-linemen have been popping off. Penny Sewell, the 2 cats from Notre Dame. I mean, people got to start looking at their interior alignment to help protect these young quarterbacks that are coming into the league. All the old heads are out that are smart with the ball. You got young goofballs in there that are taking these hits with new coaches and they're not protected.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, we don't really know what to expect with the defense. We don't know. We know every defense coordinator values a pass rush.
Definitely.
But it's just, how much do Howie and Vic get together on that and say, Vic, I'm going to get you your edge rush from the first round, versus Vic, you need a cornerback real bad, man. Bradbury's kind of washed, and we may not be able to trust him. Avante's hurt all the time. Ringo and Ricks are unproven. Let's go get Kool-Aid, dude. Or let's go get Cooper DeJean. There's a couple other good corners, too. I don't remember their names, but it's a pretty good corner draft, too.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And you're still looking ahead. I mean, you got Vic Fangio. You figure you give him Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, Sweat, and Nolan Smith still, right?
Yeah.
With Williams in there as well in there. Milton Williams has been killing it, too, at D-tackle.
Yeah, and you can stick him outside. He can survive. He can rush, yeah.
And you could survive this season with those 6 guys at D-line and give him a great corner for next year to start. You're going to lose Graham, but you can always bring in, I don't know what next year's draft class looks like, but they're always looking ahead that way, too.
Yeah, that's true. But, all right, we'll have plenty of time to talk more draft. Just figured we can get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other birds news. Brazil, baby.
Yeah, man.
The
We already knew that was happening, but now we know the opponent. Go Pack, go. Psych my ass.
It'd be a fun game, I think. I mean...
Yeah, Love versus Hurts should be good.
I think we smoke them, to be honest. I think the Packers
looked pretty fucking good towards the end of last year.
Of course they did. I think they caught some lightning in a bottle, but, like, I don't know.
I think Jordan Love's the real deal. I'm not going to say he's
I'm not there yet on him, but he did look really good at the end of the season.
He did. I mean, it also helped that Aaron Jones was killing it for him as well. They did lose Aaron Jones.
They got rid of, yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see what they do with their run game. I think he relied on that a lot. I mean, that's what won them against Dallas, really. He had like almost 200 fucking rushing yards against Dallas.
Dallas looked so bad on offense.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Jordan Love was throwing some dimes in that game too, to be fair, but
it's also kind of tough to predict a neutral territory game that's going to be a bitch to travel to, like
in another country.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
First game of the year.
Thankfully,
new offensive ND coordinator for us anyway.
Oh, big time! It's a shitty way to start the season with a whole new
you got to travel
coaching scheme, but we'll see. I guess it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen, but I'm not really afraid of the Packers at all in a way, because this team should come out pissed off how they ended last season. I get you lost some pieces, you got some new shit, but like you can't start the season losing to the fucking Packers in Brazil. That would just be stupid.
I don't know. It's way too early to call like what happens in that game.
Yeah, I have no idea at this point.
I do think Green Bay's going to win that division. I think they win the NFC North.
Who did they beat? You think they're better than Detroit?
Detroit's got to play a first place schedule. Last year they played like a second or third place schedule.
But Green Bay's playing a decent schedule too. They went to the.
They're playing a second place schedule though. There's a difference
compared to what they had this year though.
They play a slightly easier schedule. Plus, I know I got some Lions friends that are Lions fans that probably aren't going to like me saying this. I think they caught lightning in a bottle a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a Jared Goff revenge season. He was counted out his whole career, right? This was his season to prove himself. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that next year.
Now he's got expectations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen what he does with expectations before.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I feel like, they weren't far from making the Super Bowl, but the way they collapsed in that NFC Championship game, might have just been happy to be there. I don't know. I like the Packers. I think they have a better coach. No disrespect, Dan Campbell, you're a funny man, but LaFleur, is it Matt or Mike? The Packers have Matt, right?
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur, I think, is a good coach. They got an ascendant QB. They draft well. They could be a solid team. But with all that said, I don't know. I think it's too early to say what happens this game. We got to see how the draft goes, how the Eagles look in OTAs and all this.
I think it is an unfortunate predicament to be in, though. You're fucking, like you said, with two different coordinators now.
Sucks ass. It really sucks.
It's not fun at all. And I lose a game.
Oh, that's right.
That's a home game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's kind of
bullshit.
That's probably the worst part.
And they raise their prices.
Again?
Yeah. So it's
Well, I mean, you figure losing a home game, you have to generate some revenue somewhere.
so how I'll protest. I'll still be there at every game, but I'm not gonna be happy about it
Yeah.
until they start winning again. Then I'll be like, I don't even care. But damn, yeah.
Yeah, when does the schedule usually come out? May? Is it after the draft?
I think it's right before the
or
draft.
after the draft.
I
You
thought
know,
it
I
was.
could probably look in my notes from last year.
Thought it was right. Well, we know who we're playing where now, right?
Yeah, we know the opponents.
We know
and where-
home and
it's
away.
Just, we just don't know the order.
Yeah.
Yo, so according to my notes, May 24th, 2023 was when we did the schedule review.
May 24th.
And that was a little bit after the schedule
I think
came
it
out.
come out, yeah, so it's probably going to
a
be
week or
after
two
the
earlier
draft.
than that. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll get to that when we
Yeah,
get to
Yeah,
that.
we'll
plenty
talk.
of time to get to that.
We'll talk. That's all I got on the Birds.
Yeah. I guess we can do Flyers and end on a high note with the Sixers.
Yeah.
Well, the Flyers, they just won, dude.
Did they win? What was the final?
4-1.
Jeez. Now that just throws everything that I was like prepared to say about the Flyers is now
Yep.
kind of thrown out
Damn.
because
He
they're
said we're
kind
back,
had
baby.
notes.
They're kind of back in it.
Articles, we're so back. It's like, we ain't back worth a damn, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's see what else happened in the standings, though. So,
I think
the Islanders are tied with the Canadiens right now. 2-2 in the third period yet. The Sabres beat the Capitals, which is good. The Penguins beat the Red Wings. Either one of those teams losing isn't the worst thing in the world for us. Okay. These standings probably aren't going to be totally updated yet, but we'll leapfrog Detroit. Yeah, this is going to be close, dude.
yeah.
If they really fuck around and still make the playoffs after an 8-game losing
Oh,
streak,
You better
God.
keep that bananas bottles out
I'll
just in
do
case.
You know what? For the 8-game losing streak, I'll bump it up to 8 shots. I will. I'm convinced that they aren't going to make it at this point, but
Yeah, I mean, it's still a long shot. I mean, they're going to have to win these next two games against who they have, the Capitals and the Devils.
that Devils game is the Wayne Simmons retirement game. They better
they
not
got to
lose
get up
that
for
game.
that, yeah. On Saturday.
I will be pissed, and then I'm going to be at the Capitals game. They better not lose that one either.
Yeah. So they'll need a little help, but...
I'll just go over to the Capitals bench. I'll just start fighting dudes, man. I'll get my ass
Right
kicked.
over the
but
plexiglass.
I'll be a
You
good
could probably
distraction.
take out one person.
Yeah, I'm probably bigger than a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'll be a nice distraction, then the Flyers will win the game.
Yeah. Well,
It's
they'll
all
go to the
coming
playoffs.
together
you
now,
heard,
baby.
you heard it here, folks.
Then I'll end up having to do 8 unfortunate shots and 99 bananas.
Damn.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's going to be grotesque.
But, I mean, this losing streak has been pretty grotesque. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to even put it into words. It's because it hasn't just been. I can understand if it's they're fighting hard, but it's just they're kind of out of gas and they're losing these games by 1 or 2, and they're getting these bad bounces and this and that, and some of these lingering issues that they've been kind of withstanding have finally broken, and the chickens have come home to roost or whatever. But they're just getting blown out
They're
by
getting
bad
smoked.
teams.
How do you
And this-
lose 9-3? That's all like...
Yeah,
It's a baseball score.
Yeah, that's a low-key
unreal.
football score. It's a bad football score, but
And
Yeah.
then
you
that
can see
game
some
against
9-3
the
games.
against the Jackets, where the Blue Jackets set like their franchise record for the most goals in a game by defensemen. It was like all just defensemen
Yeah.
scoring
It's
point
horrible.
shots on them.
I mean,
Yeah.
and these are awful teams, right? Like, I mean, I guess the Canadiens are terrible. The Blue Jackets are ass, though. Like,
Yeah.
you should not be losing to that team and getting embarrassed in such fashion. But, I don't know, man. It's just shocking how they got through the gauntlet and came out not unscathed, but in decent shape. Where all they had to do was just play mediocre against these bad teams.
Yeah,
and
they
they're
coulda
sitting
just-
pretty.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there has been a lot of lingering things that it's just finally the duct tape
You don't
holding
need
the
to tell me.
Titanic together finally started to come loose. I mean, they trade away your boy Sean Walker.
My boy, yeah.
And then they have to. I mean, they're throwing some of these pairs they have to throw together. It was like, what was it, Eric Johnson and Ginning or whatever.
Yeah, and then you have Mark Stahl playing big
Oh
minutes.
yeah, it was Mark. Oh yeah, the pair the other night was Mark Stahl and Eric Johnson. Like the oldest defensive pair probably.
They were both older than us.
Yeah, old as fuck. And then Drysdale is still not 100%. He's like kind of a project as it is. Sanheim is clearly not 100% healthy.
Yeah, everyone's tired.
So the defense is just gassed and beat up. And then the goalie situation is finally just
I also
completely...
said they needed to trade a draft pick for a goalie. Yes, I did.
Yes, and so, Urson even... I mean, we were pretty impressed with how he was doing for a while, but even at his best, he was pretty much like a league average goalie.
And he's also tired.
And now he's just been running to the ground and just does not have it at all anymore. And whoever they're throwing in it back, I mean, Fedotov, like, give him some credit for all the shit he's been through and just getting thrown into this, like, thresher. Just, okay, you're over here. Here's, like, meaningful NHL games right away. And he hasn't looked good, understandably. But it's just kind of... yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I don't think Tortorella is blameless in all this, but also, I mean, it's kind of like, what are your options, really?
Yeah, the roster construction is really has doomed them here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the roster construction before the trade deadline was decent, where you could see, like, if they keep this team together, they're probably going to make the playoffs. But once the trade deadline hit, we knew it's probably only a matter of time that they traded their best, probably their second best defenseman. Between him and Sanheim, Sean Walker, they're probably their two best defensemen. The Carter Hart situation happens, which sucks, is what it is, and they don't go out and acquire a goalie. They get tired, right, because they play this grinded out style of play that it's going to exhaust some guys. Sealer gets hurt because he's blocking every shot with his ass and his foot and his arm and his leg, right? Drysdale has that injury, which was unfortunate, but it looked like it could have been worse. That just really just destroyed things. You have Couturier playing like ass because he's coming off 2 back surgeries. I'm not mad at him. Like, coming back from 2 back surgeries in your early 30s, that's tough,
playing on
dude.
ice?
Yeah, right? Especially to be expected to play at a high level, which he was for much of his career. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly they didn't build the roster into the intention of winning this year.
Right, that's why it's so hard to really be, like, I mean, but it's disappointing the way they started the season, but it's also kind of hard to be mad because, I mean, if you had told me that whatever their record ends up being at the end of this, if you had told me in the beginning of the season that this is what they were at, you would have been like, well, all right, that kind of sounds about right. That's kind of, honestly better than we expected them to be. A lot of people had them being a bottom 5 team, and,
I didn't expect them to be a bottom 5 team. You can go back to our season preview. I said that they were going to contend for the playoffs for much of the season, which I was right. And then I said that they'll fall out of it at the end, but I didn't expect it to happen like this.
You called the 10-game losing streak just about.
Yeah, they didn't quite get it there.
They didn't quite get there.
They had to win tonight.
Enough, though,
fucked my prediction up.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I said that at the end of the season, people would be like, okay, this team's arrived, and they're going to be closer than we think. I don't know if we can really say that.
And
just the way that this has all gone down, and you look at the roster construction, it's still shot. Like,
Yeah, it's made it very hard to evaluate whether or not this is a successful season or not, because just what you've expected out of the team has just kind of been in flux all season. It's like they're rebuilding, but they're kind of good, but they're selling, so they're still rebuilding, but we still expect them to play well, and now they're not, and I don't know. It's a very difficult team to evaluate from, just a roster construction and then the coaching and, like, the culture stuff. How much does that play into it? Like, did that whole thing fall apart?
And that's like what people were saying with the Eagles.
Yeah, it's just like a real convoluted thing just to try to wrap your head around and figure out where this team is actually at and where they're headed and, if they're still on the right track as far as a rebuild.
Well, here's the deal, man. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We've been talking about this for the Flyers for a decade, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's always just, they hang around. They either make the playoffs and get bounced for the first round, or they miss the playoffs and they're still kind of in purgatory. They aren't full tear it down, but at the same time, they aren't full on contender. They're just kind of somewhere stuck in the middle. We've been this way since the COVID year, the year after the COVID year, right? And I don't know. I think we're still going to be here probably next year now. But not to belabor the point about all that, what do you think of Torts? Like, people are starting to say, like, Oh, I got this pulled up, actually. One of the articles I do got pulled up that's still relevant. This is from Kevin Kurz of The Athletic. He said, in an appearance on the Real Kuiper and Bourne podcast on March 22nd, former Columbus Blue Jackets GM turned media personality Doug McLean suggested that in Tortorella's final season in Columbus in 2020-2021, he requested a transition into management rather than continue to serve as the team's coach. But then general manager Jarmo Kekalainen rejected the proposition and Tortorella departed after the season.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think maybe last week we mentioned that. Yeah, I think I brought that up briefly.
Damn, I listened to that episode. I don't remember that. My bad.
I didn't have it in that detail, but yeah. But I did see that there was a report from, I think it was from Darren Dredger, saying that he's expected to be behind the bench again next year. He's not going to move into management, not yet. It's still kind of expected that eventually, but I mean, obviously, I don't think they would have come out and said, yeah, he's not going to coach next year at this point. Right. So who knows? They could just be lying.
I think it's up for debate more than it's being.
I mean, it's got to be exhausting also trying to be the man to build a project and be the guy that, I mean, as a coach, he's already done everything. He's probably a Hall of Fame head coach, but he's kind of dealt a shitty hand this whole time with the Flyers. He's tried. They tried to play his way of being gritty and fighting your way through stuff, but you can't do that all season long.
Yeah,
what's gonna end next year? You're not gonna get him a stud or two to help him get over the top. You're gonna get him a couple draft picks that are rookies and new, and have to do his little training camp and get everybody fucking hard ass or whatever, and then that'll last you about 20, 30 games. And then when you get to the meat of the season, it's oh, okay, then they can't get it anywhere again. The dude's just kind of setting sail for, not retirement, but player development or something else different than besides just coaching every day in and out and being a part of the club like that, which is fine.
As much as Tortorella said, forget when this was, but we talked about this on a pod probably in the summer. As much as he said he was all for a rebuild, he'd been telling the front office they should have rebuilt for a while. He doesn't want to coach it.
No.
He wants to oversee it, I feel from another perspective. I mean, he's also 65 years old.
That's what I'm saying. I think he fits the identity. I think he enjoys being a part of a rebuild in Philadelphia because he appreciates the fans being connected to everything and all that. But is he the guy to coach the team through the rebuild? Doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem like he wants to be that. The potential was there. I mean, this year, if they had won a couple more games, maybe it could have gone differently. But you can't just will this team to win as the evidence has shown.
Yeah, they don't have the talent.
They just don't. They can't do it.
Yeah, which kind of brings back to a point that I think we made when they first had this hire. That was Tortorella's a great coach, but why exactly are you hiring this guy if you're planning on rebuilding?
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean,
they never quite pulled the trigger. So if you bring him in and you want to do a rebuild, that's fine. But you bring him in, kind of just dance around it. Well, that ain't going to be a help. They've made great steps, I think, this year, though. I mean, Briere's done a great job with what he got dealt with in his first year, but, a slip like that, you get the injury bug and you slip and you get the weird Carter Hart thing.
They're not going to be contenders.
It's just an unfortunate thing, but that's okay.
It's a very real possibility that they're worse next year.
Oh,
definitely.
I would almost guarantee you.
Yeah.
Especially if they bring in a new coach.
Yeah, and they could end up trading Lawton. They could end up trading Ristolainen. We've seen Ristolainen's been out for a while now, and he was kind of a big part of their early success, I think, which as weird as that is to say now, but yeah.
You also figure as for all Carter Hart's issues as a person, he held it down for much of the season and goal. They're gonna miss that, and maybe Fedotov is better. Maybe Erson, after an off-season of rest and preparation to be a starting goalie, is better. Maybe Koloslav comes over and is better, but, I mean, for all three of them, really.
It's a lot of maybes.
That's three rookies, essentially, right? Erson won't be a rookie next year, but he's, for all intents and purposes, a very inexperienced goalie. And, they could be pretty bad next year. Which, hey, man.
I mean, it wouldn't be you figure they don't really need to be good until Mishkov comes over. That's when it's time to actually be we need to be good now.
Yeah.
So if this year they have this weird season where they're kind of on the bubble and end up getting the 13th, 14th pick in the draft or whatever it ends up being. That's kind of disappointing, but they might have another opportunity next year to be a bottom 5 team. We'll see. Maybe not that bad, but it does feel like they do kind of need another high draft pick, especially with losing Gautier, because like we said, it turns out they're not as that much closer to being a complete team as we maybe thought earlier this season, and they probably could use that other high draft pick. So we'll see. The road is still long.
We'll also see if they fuck around and make the playoffs. If they do,
that's also true. They still could.
We're talking about them like the season's over.
Right.
And they're still very much alive after
the road
this.
could be long, but the ice is thin.
They beat the Rangers 4-1, and the Rangers are contending for the number one seed in the East.
Yeah, they're like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, they beat a
trophy.
team that's trying and is like has something to play for 4-1.
Well, that's a drop
On
game
their
though, for them.
ice.
They just got overlooked. That's all. I mean, we'll see how they do. If they get their big heads though, they come into this next series though, and they get their ass beat. Like it doesn't matter.
We will see, man. But this team, if they mess around and make the playoffs, oh my god.
It's a classic Philadelphia team where they're not good, they're not bad, they're just frustrating.
Yeah.
That's what we do best. We just piss everybody off. Fans, management, players. Everyone's always just mad at everybody.
Yeah. That's Philadelphia.
That's
Now, I will be mad on this pod next week, or I don't even know if I'd want to do it next week. Probably 2 weeks when I have to do 8 shots of 99 bananas. Good Lord. Heaven help me.
But you know who's not making us mad right now?
Clap
Them
your
Sixers,
hands,
That's
everybody. It's like, yeah, the Sixers, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling real good.
I mean,
We're so back.
we are back. We are all the way back,
As
baby.
back as we've ever been.
I mean, we were all excited about being like, man, when Embiid comes back, we have a chance to make a little run here. I did not see this. I didn't see it at this level of backness.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, he looks so good.
Yeah,
Every game he plays more minutes, it's like he didn't miss a beat.
yeah. Since he's been back, he's been over a point a minute, as he was before.
He's back to MVP caliber, I would say.
Yeah.
That fucking carnival shot.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
wild.
What?
I started dying. I was cracking up. It's like, what the hell? That went in?
Yeah.
He was just toying with them at the end of the game. I mean, he finished with, 37, 11, and 8?
Yep.
3 steals and a block.
Yeah, almost had a triple-double.
And 4 for 9 from 3. He was hooping. He wasn't even really trying at the end of that game.
No.
Yeah, he looks great. And then you get Melton back. It just feels like everything's kind of coming together at the right time.
Maxi's still popping off. I mean, 52.
He had the 52 when we were in Erie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
that double OT against the Spurs.
fucking Oubre still killing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This team's
Even
got some
Toby
juice.
fucked around and had a double-double the other
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
He looked at his...
I mean,
He was missing a lot of jumpers.
it's an
but
ugly double-double, but
Yeah,
it's
the
a
double-double.
You
Yeah.
gotta give the little idiot in the class a little clap every now and then just to keep him happy and keep showing up to work every day. But yeah, man, I don't know. They got a chance to really make a scary team in the playoffs, I will say. No matter what seed they end up falling to or jumping up to, they could be
Yeah.
like the Heat of last year.
So here's the thing, right? The Bucks, you saw Giannis strained his calf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just run up the court.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was a weird-
contact.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, I didn't know this, but a few podcasts and articles I've been following have said that Giannis has been dealing with calf pain for all season.
You gotta eat some
Usually-
bananas.
Calf pain, you know what that leads to? That leads to Achilles pain. You know what Achilles pain leads to? To an
Chop-
Achilles, you done for the season.
Chop the
You're
foot
done
off.
for next season. So, like, not that I ever want to see anyone get hurt. Like, Giannis doesn't really have much of a bag, but I enjoy watching him play. He plays with a lot of intensity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for the Sixers, if you take Giannis out of the equation in the East,
Oh.
Embiid's by far the best player in the East. And outside of Boston, I don't see a team that could really beat the Sixers. Like, I think the Knicks would be a pain in the ass to play against, but they're banged up too. They don't scare me.
Yeah, nobody really scares you. Yeah, I mean, Cleveland, Indiana.
I mean, Boston definitely is.
Yeah, Boston's scary.
Well, Boston's, I mean, Boston's obviously the one that's...
They're not only just because they're talent, but they are just the mental bane of our existence in Philadelphia. So,
Al Horford especially. That fucking guy. Oh, my God. Go send him to a retirement home. Get him out of here.
Whenever we have to play them, I'd almost rather get them out of the way earlier than later, because I feel like if you beat Boston, although then you don't also want to... It's a tough... I don't know. It's a crapshoot because, like, you could figure, let's say we end up having to play Boston first, right? You beat Boston. We're like, holy shit, you bust your load too soon. Then you get beat by, like, Cleveland or the Nets or whoever you got to play, or the Knicks, I mean, because you're all excited about, like,
true.
That's not our Super Bowl. Yeah, like, that's not our championship.
Yeah, we still get eliminated in the second round.
Right, we still get beat by somebody else.
Imagine?
But
we finally beat
that's what
Boston
would happen,
and then get eliminated.
Or would you rather have to like go through the long road of the play-in and beat someone else and then play Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals? It's just I could see us beating Boston early, potentially, and then just getting smoked by like anybody else we have to play next, which would be devastating. But
here's the thing: I don't think we're going to end up in the play-in because here's what's happening, right?
Don't we need Indiana to win the next two or lose the next two?
I have a couple scenarios.
There's so many.
There's a lot.
There are so many. I just gave up.
I was looking at it. I was like, my head's spinning.
We could be in between the 5th and the 8th, though. No,
the 5th is almost completely unlikely. There's like a 0.2% chance.
But there's a chance.
We could end up the 6th, 7th, or the 8th. The 6th and 7th seem very likely. The 8th at this point seems unlikely because Miami lost last night. They're pretty much locked in the 8th unless we lose out.
Gotcha.
So, this is from Derek Bodner. Covered the Sixers for a decade. So he tweeted this last night. To claim the 6th seed, the Sixers need the Pacers to win their final 2 games at Cleveland, who's been pretty butt lately, and home versus the Hawks. Hawks are a fringe play-in team. The Sixers to win their own final 2 games versus Orlando, who's been pretty butt lately, versus the Nets, who've been ass for a while. A 3-team tie between the Sixers, Magic, and Pacers would go Magic 6, Pacers 7, Magic 5, Pacers 6, Sixers 7.
Right.
So they could still end up in the play-in. But he also says, someone said, or win the final 2 and Magic lose the final game versus Milwaukee. And Derek also says this is true as well, which will leave Pacers 5th, Sixers 6th, Magic 7th. Pacers going 0-2, as you said, would work as well. If the Pacers lose out, that works too. But all of this to say is like a lot of the scenarios have the Sixers finishing 6th, possibly 7th, very unlikely 8th.
Right.
Which if they get the 6th seed, Boston, the Knicks beat Boston, so they're tied with Milwaukee in the loss column for the 2nd seed. If it comes down to playing Milwaukee, right? I'm playing Milwaukee, even if that means I have to go through the play-in.
Yeah.
Because Giannis is gimpy and Milwaukee looks ass anyway.
Yeah. Although, shout out Pat Bev, though, he had that 20-10, though.
Oh, he's been hooping.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Because, the Knicks, they would be a pain in the ass to play against, and if we end up the 3, or the 6th, and they end up the 3, and Milwaukee's the 2, I'm going to be like, damn, we should have just fallen into play-in. But the other caveat being the play-in doesn't guarantee you the 7th seed.
Right.
So, I don't know, man.
It's tricky, but the way that the Sixers are playing, I don't know, having their kind of destiny in their hands, they look like they're the most capable they've been in months to be able to control their destiny. They're playing, everyone's shooting well. The defense has been great. I mean, they're grinding out games. Maxey didn't want to come off the court in that double OT and pulled out that win for the team. I mean, the Sixers are looking, they have a drive that I haven't seen in a while coming into the playoffs.
Since like the start of the season?
Yeah. Or just in general. Like, usually we're coming close to the playoff time. We're like, fuck, like, Embiid's looking rusty, or they just still look a little disheveled, or I don't know, we're losing dumb games. But to have Embiid come back the way that he has and the way the team has also produced, it's kind of right now a perfect storm for the Sixers.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
mean, in terms of their health and just the way that they're playing, I mean, I feel about as good going into this playoffs as I have for any of them. So, I don't know, man. Could be the year. Could be the year.
I'm not saying like that, but I just at least feel like you feel like they could win a series though. Like it just feels good that.
Yeah. Well, also, hopefully two.
Yeah. Well,
2 series.
You don't want to get too ahead.
Get through that second series.
But like, my biggest fear was we don't know how Embiid's going to come back. He's going to be naturally rusty. Could be a little shaky. You know, he's always come back from injuries and not looked like himself when he typically comes back around this time of year. But he looks damn near the best he's ever been after an injury.
Yeah.
And the team around him is playing as if he never missed 2 months, which is also unlikely of the Sixers. So I just feel good about the team itself. I don't care wherever they go or how far they go, but at least they are playing well enough to do some damage and piss some teams off, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I just feel like they have probably the best just 9-man rotation that they've had in the past 5 years or whatever. With Lowry, I mean, what a pickup that's been.
Big time.
He looks great. He looks great with Embiid already. And then we have Melton back.
Oubre's been killing it. There. Yeah. Batum is even looking nice, honestly, on the corner wing. Yeah,
looking nice. Yeah.
B-ball Paul. He's been doing pretty good back in his regular role.
Look at Mo Bamba. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But no, they have the best roster construction around Embiid probably throughout his tenure as a Sixer. They have the best coach. They probably have the best coach in the Eastern Conference after Spoelstra for Miami, right? Like,
yeah.
Joe Mazzulla, we saw what he did last year. Like
Doc.
Yeah, Doc. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Knicks, Tom Thibodeau is a decent coach, but he kind of just screams at his players and just plays them 48 minutes all the time.
Yeah.
His players are going to die on the court. Who else we got? Bickerstaff, I think, for Cleveland. He's probably going to get fired. He could get fired. Indiana, I don't even know who the hell their coach is. My point being is that outside of Spoelstra, like, we have the coaching advantage. We have the best player in the conference. We have a great roster built around him. I'm not going to call it could be the year, but this is shaping up to be the best. No, this is shaping up to be their best playoff run in the Embiid era.
Right.
I'm not saying it's championship
health-wise
level.
And just playing-wise, they're putting themselves in a great position coming into the playoffs for the first time in a while.
So
we'll leave it at that.
That's all we can ask for. Yeah. We'll see how we're sitting next week.
Yeah. Could be the year.
My Kelly Oubre shirt should be here. Shout out to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez. You're a bitch. I always butcher the quote. Let's move on.
Yeah. That's one you don't want to mess up. It could get dangerous.
Well, when I have the shirt, then I'll never forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll never forget it. You won't be able to see it.
I'll look down.
But you know who else will never forget? OJ says.
Damn.
Pour one out.
Pour one out for Juice. Pour out some juice for Juice.
Damn. Put your gloves on and pour out some juice.
Yeah, put on those gloves that are slightly too small. Or maybe not really.
Do whatever you got to do and jump back in your white Bronco and take off down the highway.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yo, I didn't even realiase he had cancer. That's a shame.
Me neither.
Well, there was this funny video. One of the, I guess it was before the Super Bowl when his trademark funny videos he posted on Twitter. But I guess there was a rumor going around that he was in hospice care, and he was just like, hospice? I don't know where you guys heard that. I'm not in hospice or whatever. And he dies like a couple months later.
Damn, that's rough. Well, hey, I mean, great player. I know that.
Can't take that away.
Can't take that away. I mean, the stats don't lie. But,
Yeah, first 2,000-yard rushing season.
The Eagles should have drafted him when they passed up on his ass. Could have been an Eagle.
Who did the Eagles take?
Fucking some bum. I don't know. But
that could have just changed the entire trajectory. I mean, he may not have ever even...
Maybe would never, he could have found some nice Philly chick.
Yeah, wouldn't have had to
been in a good city.
Do any of those things.
Murders do not ever happen.
She'd have killed him. I mean, she would have been suspected of killing his ass, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, OJ, gone. But surely never forgotten. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, I'll never forget those crazy unhinged Twitter videos where he's just like ripping people.
Yeah.
When he first got out of prison too.
You know,
Damn. And then he went to the playoffs.
Dude,
So Buffalo went to the playoffs.
He was on some other shit.
But he couldn't leave Florida yet, so he had to just stay. They wanted to bring him up, but then luckily they played. I forget who they had to play, and he came down to go watch the game. But yeah.
Did you see that one a few years ago? He had some interview on I don't know what it was, on the news network or whatever, and the woman that was interviewing, they were kind of she was kind of pressing him like, so did you do it or whatever? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it.
I saw this.
It was like, but did you do it? And he's like, no, of course not. And then then after the interview's over, she's like speaking to the camera, and afterwards, Mr. Simpson said that he had like something to show, and like a surprise for me or something, and I suppose this was his idea of a joke, and then it pans to like her opening a door, and it's O.J. Simpson with a knife doing like the psycho thing, like it's just like, this guy's
I remember
the biggest fucking weirdo ever.
Yeah, he did that shit.
Yeah, and then the If I Did It book, it's like, I almost forgot about that.
I did forget about that until just now.
People were hoping that he would like leave a note, be like, yeah, I fucking did that shit.
Yeah,
like, just
you know.
Damn. Yeah, man. A football legend, obviously, but probably more of a legend for, his extracurricular activities
antics,
than anything else, yeah.
His wild and crazy antics.
But yeah, dead. I won't say R.I.P. I'll just say dead.
Yeah.
I think I wrote in the rundown for the day R.I.P.
Well.
Hey, man, everyone deserves to rest in peace.
I'm sure he's...
It's not like he was like Osama or like Saddam Hussein or something.
He wasn't that
bad.
I'm not saying he's got to rest uneasily. I'm just saying he's just dead. I'm just announcing what the news is. I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah,
I also didn't say I'm not saying anything negative. Say he was a great athlete.
Yeah, I would never say anything negative about it.
You're separating the art from the artist.
Yeah, separate the art from the artist.
Okay.
I'm trying to be neutral here.
Know?
All right, fair enough.
He can rest easy. And he is resting. He's dead. He's asleep. And he, internally.
He probably had told someone to make a burner account with his name on it, and they'll terrorize people.
Yeah.
Butchie came for the OJ conversation.
Butchie came down here to pay her respects.
Butchie.
Got to knock over the camera.
She said,
don't knock anything over.
She's like, I hate orange juice.
This probably isn't good podcasting.
Yeah, we're all distracted by the cat. Sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
But
yeah, wedding.
Yeah,
it was a great recap.
Yeah.
Highlights from Erie.
Yeah, we went to...
Besides the eclipse.
Went to the Simpsons
the
bar.
wedding.
That really wasn't... calling that a Simpsons bar was a little bit of a stretch. They had, a couple little...
Two statues
outside.
Two statues and a duck named
Mo.
Yeah, that duck had that. He had a toupee on, dude. He needed to take that wig off.
I thought that shit was fake at first when I saw it.
Right?
I thought it was a dead, just a dummy duck.
It looked like something died on his head.
And there were two in there.
Yeah.
But the other one didn't have a name.
Oh, for real?
It was just Mo and the duck. Like, Mo was the guy with the hair, but then it was just like another duck, which was kind of funny. But that place was all right.
Yeah, that place was decent. They had that very cold Labatt Blue.
Oh, ice on the top.
My God,
the icy Labatts.
That was like lake ice cold.
Yeah, how y'all feel about a Labatt?
I love Labatt.
Yeah, I had a few when I was there. I guess that's like
dude.
the standard beer there.
It's Canadian and it's right across the river.
Yeah,
I knew I liked Labatt, but then the day of the wedding, I was knocking them bad boys down.
Oh yeah, I was slurping them down like the Lord wasn't looking.
Yeah, they were
then
going down easy.
we realized we could start doing shots. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of the end.
That's all I walked over. I said, "Can I do a shot?" They were like, "Can you do a shot?" I was like, "Can I do a shot?" They were like, "Yeah, you can."
They were
"Hell
getting heavy
yeah!"
with the pours too. At one point, I was joking. I was like, "Y'all gonna get me drunk?" The bartender was like, "Oh, okay." Made a heavy pour.
Yeah, they made some good pours there.
Yo, how about us being on the news?
Wild.
Yeah.
The whole wedding was on the news. I guess eclipse weddings don't happen.
I don't think a lot of shit's popping off in Erie too most of the time. And the whole town was shut down just for this eclipse.
Yeah.
So they had us out there. Yeah, it was a great day. I mean, man, I definitely went to Bucktown. I went to Buck City for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Monday night? Good Lord, man. I was in Buck Country. Ooh,
yeah.
Adios mio.
We were hanging out. We were doing the thing.
Yeah, the zone, man. The zone was all right.
Yeah, man. A little karaoke,
Yeah.
a little dancing.
Yeah,
The zone.
that place was cool, man. I like how they called it a gay bar.
It was just
It was just a bar that like gay people were hanging out
It
at.
honestly was just a dive bar. It's like just a
Yeah.
shitty
You
dive
could
bar.
smoke in it too. I felt like I was in Philly in
And it was
2017.
carpeted too.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
wild,
it felt
dude.
very throwback, like something from the
Mm-hmm.
80s or something.
Then that one dude was singing Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah, he knocked it out of the park.
That was nuts. Started dancing to it. Yeah, it was just a great all-around night. Great day, great atmosphere. Everybody was, it's just good to have everybody in one place, have a good time and celebrate. Especially celebrate Lewis and Hannah. I mean, what a great event, honestly. It's going to be tough to beat that wedding for sure,
Yeah,
given the eclipse and all that, too. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't make it to the Philly bar, but it didn't really look that interesting to me.
I don't know if I
honestly,
had
on
one more
Google.
bar in me, to be honest. I
No,
was pretty spent.
when we left on Monday, or Tuesday rather. Ooh. But all in all, man, great weekend. Shout out Lewis and Hannah, Vamo Coffee, Mug Coffee, and Clay. It'll be popping off soon. We'll record a live pod there.
Yeah.
Then we'll see what happens after that. The next solar eclipse in Erie is in 2090. We going. I'll be 101 years old, but we going.
Yeah.
2090?
They can renew their vows. I'll officiate that too. I'll roll up in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
an old geezer. I'll be like, we were here back in 2024.
Jesus.
It's like 2090. The world's probably not going to exist by then.
Now the moon will be, I don't know, or it'll be too hot. I don't know. Something will be
Yeah.
fucked up.
The sun will have exploded by then,
Yeah.
so there won't be any eclipse.
or the ice caps will have melted, and the U.S. will just be just a body of water.
The lakes will be flooded. Erie won't even be a thing. It'll be like Atlantis.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
You can just take a boat out there.
The amphitheater will be underwater. We get Poseidon up in there.
Hell yeah. Or we just get we just get a shit ton of pontoons out there. Pontoon boats.
Now we're talking 2090, man. Let's plan for it. Let's
Yeah.
start talking now.
Let's do it.
We'll be doing the pod in 2089.
Yeah, live pod from the 2090 eclipse.
But we won't need all this shit. We can
We'll be in the
just
submarine.
Yeah, we'll probably have microphones implanted into our brains.
Microchips,
And,
yeah.
yeah, we'll be on that. Yeah, all that good stuff.
we need all these
We
cords
have-
and wires
we'll
and
be
shit.
cyborgs.
That's how we'll
Yeah.
still be alive then. We'll be, like 70% computers at that point.
We'll be living in the lake.
You'll be in a cyborg, be all right, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
You gotta stay tuned for next week to hear more about that.
Yeah, we'll do a deep dive into,
It's like we'll have
cyborg stuff.
some dead episodes in the middle of summer where we got to
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
we talk-
cyborgs,
Yeah.
androids, robots,
The world just
malevolent
exploding.
AI.
Droids, yeah.
This is the weird stuff that goes on in my brain when I'm not thinking about sports.
There might be another submarine out there on the loose that we don't know about yet with some
Yeah,
rich
we'll
people
see.
in there eating each other and fucking each
Yeah,
other.
and then the aliens.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, we got to have a weird sci-fi episode where we don't talk no sports and just talk about the
Just
weird
all
into
of the
it.
theories of the
Yup,
universe.
Yep.
If you're a big fan of sci-fi
Yeah.
and mystery and space and shit, you want to be our guest for that
Yeah.
episode,
If you're into the universe,
send us an email,
Stay
shoot us a
tuned.
text. Hell yeah.
DM us.
yeah. Well, I think I'll just about do it for us here tonight, everybody. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review over your podcast. Give us a follow on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Send us an email at citywidepod@gmail.com. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Suddenly, I jumped in my Bronco and took off like O.J. Simpson.